me unmute. There we go. No camera today. Still not working here.
I call this meeting of the Isla Vista Community Service District Policy Committee to order at 6:16 p.m. I will announce that this meeting is being recorded and do a roll call. Director Freeman here, Director Craig.
Here.
Director Aguilar.
Here.
All present. Moving on to the land acknowledgement. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Chumash people, who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to the Chumash elders, past, present, and future, who call this place, Anascoyo, the land that Isla Vista sits upon, their home. We are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Chumash community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding. Public commentary period. At this time, any member of the public may speak on matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of the policy committee that are not on the agenda. The committee will not take action on any item not on the agenda, except as provided by law. Is there any public comment?
None right now.
Seeing none, moving on to discussion action items. 3.1, review parental leave policy. The committee will review the proposed parental leave policy, give direction to staff, and or recommend the policy to the board.
All right. So we've been working more on the revisions from last time. I'll just go through the comments first and show some of the changes that were made. So we did work on the gender neutral throughout. So now and also includes surrogates. And it also added, so we added the surrogate, we added for the birth of their child to make it gender neutral. So those changes were incorporated. I'm gonna amount of time. So what other districts do, let me get back to this one because it's just a more involved discussion. So this is the question that you all had is what does it look like when we provide additional benefits on top of the leave though? So here's a couple things. So here's what Pam, I'm just going to read what Pam says because I'm not a lawyer. I'd be more comfortable just explaining it from her words. So the district can choose to do that. So yes, we can provide more leave than what's required in the law. We have to clearly make sure that it's provided that parental leave is protected leave so that, if you do provide the extra time, you have to continue to, make it clear that, it's 17 weeks now and you still have your job protected those whole 17 weeks. And what benefits we pay for in that leave time. So we're required to do, maintain benefits during the 12-week federal time. You can, if you had a longer leave, you could have it with benefits or have it without, but we need to state that. You should probably keep the benefits. And then the district is required to maintain the benefits. But so if you were going to extend it, we just have to outline the parameters of what the extension. Is it different than the original 12 weeks? Is it the same? And then this leave is supposed to be for baby bonding time. And then if there's disability related issues, then that's a separate pregnancy disability leave that will be outlined later in the policy. So that's just one note is like this leave, this parental leave essentially is for baby bonding and it's not for medical complications that arise. That's pregnancy disability leave. So two separate things that are obviously extremely related, but different benefit structures under the law. So basically what I'm saying is if you said you wanted to give 17 weeks of leave, but then someone had a pregnancy disability claim instead, those are separate things. Like the clocks run separately if you're running pregnancy disability versus parental leave.
So they're still entitled to that 17, like even if it interrupts in the middle kind of a thing.
Yeah, and the 17 is the made up number for our extended amount. The 12 weeks is the regular, and then whatever the X number that we make it longer, or we can make it shorter, but if we made it longer.
Are we recording?
It's the YouTube is recording it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So that's that. The next one was on the holiday issues. So I don't know. I'm thinking there might be a more simple, creative solution to this issue, but we all asked if you're on leave and you have a entitled holiday as part, it's essentially part of your compensation, the paid holidays. Would the holiday extend the leave or not? And can we allow it to extend? So Pam says that you can do that. It just will become logistically a little more complicated. Oh.
Outside note, it would be better if you screen shared, even though
screen share. Oh, the screen share, the Zoom. Yes, good call. Um, where's my screen share option? Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Jay. Yeah, so it does say that we can do that. It's just a logistically different thing, and you'd have to then count the leave by hours rather than weeks, which is already how we count our sick and vacation days, is actually by hours rather than number of days. So someone can take like a 4-hour vacation day, like a half day as a vacation day. But so it is possible. It's just a little more logistically tricky. I feel like you can make it simpler by just saying like you just add 2 days at the end and you really don't have to do that much. But I don't know. And also if you make it paid, you don't have to deal with this because one of the coming up discussions is, oh, could we cover the cost of the employee's salary during leave or not? Well, if you made it paid, then it kind of then doesn't matter because it's you can add the days without it being as complicated. That's what I'm saying. So here's the complicated thing still. It's still complicated is the FMLA, which is the Federal Policy Family Medical Leave Act, CFRA, California Family Rights Act, and then pregnancy disability leave is a separate one. But how these two coordinate with each other is here. If the employee runs out of FMLA, then you can run pregnancy disability leave so long as they meet the requirements for that. And then you can run CFRA after disability leave ends. So they don't have to so pregnancy disability leave runs alongside FMLA, but not with California CFRA. So it would just happen after. So you could run the two together, like pregnancy disability plus FMLA, and then run CFRA. It's based on circumstance, you guys. So it's like someone might not use the pregnancy disability leave. And then in that case, you could run the CFRA with the FMLA, which we've done before for other employees. Essentially, yeah, you can't do all because I think the reason, and it's not stated here, but I assume the reason is because pregnancy disability leave has a paid component, and so does CFRA. So it's like I think, and FMLA is unpaid leave. So I think that's why you cannot run the two together. Yeah. So that's that question clarified. And then finally, for here we asked for paid family leave, which is once again is different than these other things. It's a California program from the state. So we asked, can it be other partners, not just a spouse or domestic partner? And the answer here is that for the purposes of pregnancy and baby bonding, the use of paid family leave during this time is only to take care of a spouse or registered domestic partner that has pregnancy or related condition. But overall, the use of PFL can be for any family member of the employee. So you can use paid family leave essentially for any family issue. And it's, but in this case, it's for helping a spouse or domestic partner. So that is what the law says. It's a state program. So we're just kind of outlining their benefits essentially here. This is not something we control. It's a state program. And then in terms of matching the paid family leave, if you want to add additional amounts, yeah, it does cover 60 to 70% for the employee for 8 weeks. And so it's not a huge cost for the district to cover that last 30 to 40%. The reason being, we budget our salaries on a year basis. So if someone's raise is even going to happen mid-year, we budget that raise for the full year. It's a conservative budgeting practice, but it makes it so that, we've already budgeted any salary of anybody who would go on paid family leave. So if that's something the district wanted to do, it's already in our budget. It would actually be a savings in a way. Like you would be saving 70% of the salary because the state would be paying 70% of the salary, and we would then only be obligated to pay 30%. The logistics of that are a whole other question. We might need help figuring that out, but that is the answer here. So yes, we could match it. And it is mixed, like what other, you asked me to see what others do. And what I did is I checked the CSDA does a survey of all the special districts and what benefits and pay they provide, and it's mixed. Some do this, some don't. And so I couldn't say it's like a resounding in either direction to do this, but
So it's for salaries that we've budgeted for, does that like, so then we could run that with FMLA too? Like we could still like pay for.
you could
Okay.
make that a part of the benefit that we pay during the 12 weeks of FMLA. Yeah. For pregnancy. I mean, you could do it just for parental leave. You know, you could say, in this case, we'll pay, or you can say in all cases, you know, FMLA can be for dozens of different things. But I guess right here, we're only considering it for parental. I'm done. No, that's it. Sorry. I thought, no, I'm like, it's at the end of the document. No, that's it. That's it. But yeah. I think the main questions I think left for you all to come to a conclusion on is this, like how we handle the unpaid leave here, like whether we want to pay or not pay, or have longer time, or short, or not short, but if you want to have a longer time or not. That's the main question I think left in this policy. Everything out there are maybe some other questions, more of a clarifications, but in terms of policy decisions, it's really like, do you want to go with the state mandate or do you want to go beyond the state? Yeah. Well, Sydney is on the call, so she can speak on that. I know she has other ideas and discussion points on all the comments, or not all, some of the comments. Sydney can, oh, there it is.
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of your question in regards to is this in regards to the additional?
Yeah, this is just in regards to like the length of leave.
Yeah, I mean, I have mixed feelings about it. I think legally 12 weeks, like the 3 months is it's like definitely the lowest, like in terms of what other other areas, other countries are offered. Because at that point your child's only 3 months old, and so trying to find any sort of like childcare at that age is really challenging. And in terms of like childcare, that's just not really something that's available right now in Santa Barbara. And most of it is like you'll have to do like a nanny or family or whatever, but they won't take that young of an infant. So I mean, obviously I would advocate for more. I think it's something that the district could really lead that charge on. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts there.
You like to see, Sydney?
Sorry, it's super hard to hear you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Maybe try now.
I can hear Jonathan, but I can't hear anyone else.
Okay. She's asking how long do you think it should be?
I mean, I think for like at least like 16 weeks is something, and especially the added 4 weeks of like your position being completely safe and covered. And then as a district, we have the option to use like sick and vacation time if we want to extend that out, which is another thing that is helpful to kind of extend that leave.
I see Spain and France both have 16 weeks.
Yeah. My brother and sister-in-law just moved to Sweden and they get 2 years, I think, which is wild. But yes, 16 weeks is kind of the average. I think we're on the lower side of things.
So yeah, let's talk about seeing 16 weeks. Yeah.
Yes, I would fully support that.
And one thing I'll say, you guys, with the benefits, it's not a like 4 week difference to us, it's not a big hit to the district. It's not a, you're keeping somebody, whoever it is. I mean, Sydney is definitely the person who will go on leave, but in any case, like in a good employee, giving them that extra 4 weeks, they are happier. You get to keep somebody. Like if you were like hardline 12 weeks and then the employee needs 16, you might lose that person. And so one thing we can do as a district, we cannot pay the infinite salaries. Like we cannot get to City of Goleta level salaries. Like they're always going to do better than us on pay because they're a richer city than us. But we can always be stronger in benefits because they're, especially benefits like these, because they are like cheaper benefits essentially. Like we're not having, it's not a $50,000 commitment to do this. It's, $5,000 maybe, maybe 10,000, but it gives us a competitive edge on hiring and keeping staff where people know like they care about us here in that way. And it's also not going to happen that frequently. Like, I mean, maybe there might be at one point all the employees have to go on parental leave. This unlikely to happen. And so you're really not taking a hit. It's really, you have to do the 12 weeks anyways. That's the law. So you're really only talking about 4 weeks. And can the district survive for 4 more weeks without one person? Probably, and then that person will be a longer term employee who benefits back the district by being, more experienced and in the position longer. So
Spain has these modifiers where they add an additional 2 weeks if you have twins, an additional 2 weeks if you have triplets.
wow,
They also give you 2 weeks if there's if the child has disabilities.
well, okay. And these all stack.
Yeah, because it's like 16-week period away from work. This rises to 18 weeks for twins and 20 weeks in the case of triplets. And for children with disabilities, there's an additional 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely support that extension.
So let me write this note down. So you guys want to see it 16-week men, and then do you like these modifiers that Jay mentioned, or
They're very valid modifiers. And yeah, it's just as fair of a likelihood of the individual meeting with them.
okay? So I'll work on the language with them on that. Okay, well, that's a major question. So we have something in the chat.
Oh, I just dropped it in. It's just the list of all like big name like companies that have like their list of maternity leave in weeks listed out, which is kind of interesting to reference. They're very large companies, but it's a very, very long list. But I think like 16 you see like pretty frequently. And I will just agree with Jonathan completely, is that like something that gives us such a leg up is, and something that I think keeps staff, is really like our benefits package. It's pretty phenomenal. So to just add to that, I think it's really valuable. And I think it shows staff that like they're valued and like they can go out on leave, be just fine, and come back and have their job back.
Yeah, I do see a lot of 16 on here, even 12s and some 28 I saw. So 26 here. These are big companies.
The Melinda Gates Foundation is 52.
52. All right. And then so the next thing, oops, where did the policy go? Okay, I'll just open it again. Yes, there was that one. Oops. Okay, so the holiday thing, how do you guys want to handle the holiday thing now that like it would just change the logistics of it? Yeah. You want to, it would be like, in a 4-month period, we would have 4 holidays. We have 1 holiday a month essentially. So you would be essentially adding 16 weeks plus 4 days. So it effectively is 17 weeks at that point. If you do the holidays are not counted in leave time, like they are separate days off that you would get if you weren't on leave. So
the main question that we got from our council was that if we do things in weeks or days, which we do not, that would be more work. But we already do our employees based in hours types of accounting.
Yeah, I mean, think she was saying if you do it by hours, it's more work, but like we already do it by hours. So it kind of isn't a big deal to me. I mean, we'll figure out the logistics of it. But I think we already count our vacation hours, our vacation days by hours. Like people get 100, whatever, that 8 times 15. That's how many vacation days you get is 8 times 15, not 15 days. It effectively is 15 days, but
Next half day type.
and that was something we had to do at one point. We did used to be on a day basis, and then we did switch to hours for other benefit issues, like where we wanted to, figure out like part-time sick benefits versus the full-time sick benefits. I don't know, it was like 2 years ago or so, Jay. I don't remember when we did it, but we did switch at one point from days to hours. So you could do it by, so then 17 weeks would be, or 16 weeks would be, 480, but plus a few more. Yeah. And then plus the 4 vacation days, which is 32.
The question is whether we would want to modify the text to not say, or to say the opposite of holiday pay would not extend until parental leave entitlement. We would say that like holiday
Will
leave would be
extend.
disjoint.
Yeah. Because we don't do holiday pay this way. I mean, we kind of do, but we don't, because like our part-timers don't get holiday pay, but our full-timers do, but they're all salaried. So they get paid what they get paid no matter what, whether it's a holiday or not a holiday. Your 2 week salary is your 2 week salary. So we've never like given somebody like, here's your 8 hours for Christmas. We don't do that. We just say, here's your 2 week pay. So it is a small change to our processes, but it's not like a major change. We would figure it out, essentially, how we do it within our payroll system.
I think they should be disjoint.
Disjoint, like that extends. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in favor of it extending.
And it is gonna effectively, unless it's like during winter recess, then it's only 4 days extra you're adding.
Yeah, for what it's worth, my argument for why it should be disjoint is winter recess sort of scenarios where it's like, it just seems weirdly unfair / like frustrating that like just because something happened during that little window, it's actually slashes some of the benefits. So
That's true. And we've already it's semi-precedent already, like when we had an FMLA issue previously where someone went on FMLA leave in December of 2020, many years ago now, when we measured out their 12 weeks, yeah, we did add a week essentially for winter recess. We were like, well, this week doesn't count because, so we kind of did that already.
Yeah.
But that's because it was a one situation thing. Okay. And then the last thing you guys got to figure out is, okay, the coordination, we don't, that was just an answered question, is the paid family leave. How do you want to cover the salary here?
I think we should,
you said 200%?
oh, 100%.
Oh. I see you covered up to 100%. Is this the part of the policy that is actually a syndicated policy from the other policy?
Kind of. I mean, the FMLA part is also syndicated because there's an FMLA section.
Make a change to this, does it affect another policy?
I mean, no. Like if you say that your intention is to change this just for parental issues, then we can keep that scope. Like you can then say, okay, well, paid family leave to take care of a person who's sick, which is referenced somewhere else. You can say that doesn't get you the additional amount, or you can say it's for all. But this is the parental leave section now, so you could qualify it this benefit, the 30 to 40% is for parental leave under those conditions. Want me to close the door real quick? Yeah, PFL, like it says here, runs concurrently with the unpaid leaves. So with FMLA. And I think what we had said actually, and I'll try to link these two comments. So because now we've just made it 16 weeks for ourselves, which kind of I'll work with Pam to figure this out. But what we said in March was let's match the rest of the pay for that 12-week and then have extra 4 weeks of full pay to see out the rest, because this is 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we have 4 weeks here, but then we want to do 16 weeks. So this is technically half. So they would get PFL for half of their unpaid leave, but then we could, I mean, it would be paid now leave, and then we could then say you get the other 8 weeks covered by the district essentially. So it is how you want to do it, because yes, the 16 weeks. Did we decide if the 16 weeks is paid or we did not. Okay, so yeah, that is essentially like it's kind of like half and half, because half of it is going to get covered by paid family leave, the 8 weeks. So you could figure out like, do you want to cover that, and then you need to figure out what you want to do about those other 8 weeks. If you want to take them out, just pay them regular salary, or not. You're only obligated. You're not obligated to pay it all, but yeah.
You had an opinion on the effects to the district relating to the benefits. Do you have such an opinion about the salary coverage?
Oh, I kind of actually meant that in my comments.
Okay.
It all was, because what I was saying is like, paying this is not a lot of money, like
Okay.
for us, unless it was like, it's not a situation where we're hiring someone else to replace someone who's gone. Like you could, some companies
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that,
yeah.
right?
Instead,
They-
everyone's just gonna work 180%?
Well, we've hired this new project
Okay.
manager who's going to take on a lot of duties. We're going to just not do some things while
Okay.
Sydney's out, and then I'll take on some duties that just need to be taken on, like the supervision. But yeah, no, we're not. That's
Not
I
fully
mean,
hiring a temp and
yeah,
paying
we're
a
not
salary.
hiring a temp. But no, it's a good point, Jay. Like, yeah, someone's gone, or where's the work gonna go? But we do have. That's why the district invested in this new position that will absorb a lot of that work, and then in the future we'll have double capacity. But yeah, we aren't planning to hire somebody, so covering the pay is not like a big hit on us because we budgeted that money already. So it's not like an additional cost. Essentially, it's not an additional
Yeah.
cost. Yeah. And I would really strongly doubt that there'll ever be a situation where all the staff is out on parental leave, and then now we have to cover, everyone's salaries plus, 5 temps. I just don't think that's going to happen. I mean, it is definitely possible, but it's not likely. So
It'd be hilarious if there was some kind of insurance program we could get into for that. And we pay us, the district just in case everyone gets pregnancy bingo.
yeah, well, maybe you can get a custom plan. So you guys are saying cover the 30 to 40 plus the 8 weeks, 100% is what
Yeah.
you're saying? Okay. So let me just write this down so it's clear. 30 to 40 coverage during PFL 8 weeks plus 100% coverage during non-PFL 8 weeks. And I am gonna try to work with Pam to get like a diagram too, that it's, because this is, I think it's very clear, but I think always like a diagram or just like a flow chart sort of situation.
It gets clear when
Well-
you read it like 10 times.
Yeah. We've read this like, yeah, exactly. So I think I want to make this easier, and it'll be easier to implement because yeah, it's easier to hand someone like here's a worksheet of like your benefits and then just read the policy and figure it out. So, but we do have some worksheets already for like the state programs. We just now have to develop one for what our program is because it is now it is a unique program what we're doing. So yeah, well that's everything on my end, unless you guys had any other questions or changes or
Is there any public comment, questions, or commentary?
I just want to thank the district for moving so quickly on this. Because I feel like this was only just brought up a few months ago. So thank you. And thank you for being really thoughtful about the process and engaging with staff and talking with, different, seeing what other districts do. And it's just been a really nice process and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Sydney.
You have feedback in the sense we don't need to make any motions or organize.
I would just make a motion on this one now that we've pretty much finalized it, but I do need to make some changes still before the board meeting based on our comments. But yeah, I think we can make a motion to move forward with this, to recommend it to the board. Yeah, recommended with amendments to the board. And you have all the amendments already noted on the side and comments here, so those are memorialized.
I'd like to move that we take this policy with amendments to the board.
I will second that.
Motion made by Aguilar, seconded by Craig. Is there any public comment on this motion? Hearing none, moving on to a roll call. No, we don't need a roll call.
No.
Moving on.
You're good.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion passes 3000 at 6:47 p.m.
Nice.
Is there anything else we want to cover on this agenda item before we move on? Hearing nothing, moving on to agenda item 4, future meeting dates and future agenda items. Next regular meeting of the policy committee will take place on Tuesday, June 20th, 2023 at 6 p.m. on Zoom and at the community room at 970 Embarcadero Del Mar, Isla Vista, California.
I
Is it really
mean,
going to be there?
no, that's
No.
incorrect.
Take
We'll
that
we'll
out.
change it.
For future reference, the meeting will take place in the, what is this? This is
In the survivor resource room. We're gonna move upstairs, move this thing.
Okay.
So I wanted to just go over our upcoming agenda items. So
Woohoo.
parental leave policy done, yay.
Wow.
So we had some other ones that we were thinking about. So Jay had brought up appointment process policy when we did the board member appointment. Two things that we have as a staff level we're dealing with issues on or have dealt with issues on is time cards and missing shifts and schedules. We don't even have policies drafted yet, but these are just things that we've experienced as a staff with some of our employee issues. And so there's no backing in policy for like, if you miss a shift, what happens? How does the district address that? How many shifts do you have to miss before it becomes a problem? Things like that. So, and then time cards, which we've pretty much solved on the administrative end, but it would be nice. I mean, Ross has given us language already for what a time card policy could be of like, you need to get your time cards in by this day. If you don't, you'll get paid next pay period sort of thing. We had a facility naming policy. So I think maybe only Jay remembers that. I think you were the only one on the committee at the time where we had discussed having a facility naming policy. I have this ready. I just said, as you see my comment, this is done, just not sure when to fit it into a meeting. And then we discussed the dependent care policy, which I haven't had a chance to do enough research on, like you said, like what do other districts do for this? But I just haven't done the research for it yet.
Is that the one that also we were talking about, the figuring out something involving some kind of payment and how we would handle an account?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like the health savings account equivalent
There you
thing.
go.
Yeah. I think it's called something else. Do you guys have any other policies you want me to add to this list while we're here?
So we have policies.
Yeah. Just ideas. I mean, it could even just be ideas that we then do some research on and see if we even want to. I'll tell you another policy I'll just do it right now. Community center policy updates. We did one update, but there's just like, I'll give you one example. We had an event that wanted to charge recently, but our policies say you can't. Well, maybe we could figure out a policy that meets all the needs of like, okay, some can be free, some can be paid and charged. So it's just lots of things have come up. People leaving the place very dirty after. We kind of brought that up last time. Like, I think it'll be a bigger process, and Maya will be super involved in it. But I'll put that out there. So we do need to update that for the year.
And
turns
especially
over.
as our community center's gone from like not open
To open.
to
yeah.
open and possibly like at 98% capacity usage or
Yeah,
102%. I'm not really sure, but
Yeah. Good point. We wrote the policies when it was 0%. Literally
Okay.
nothing was happening. We
Yeah.
were like, these policies should work. But
you
yeah,
have things to respond to.
yeah.
I would prioritize that one
Yeah.
in particular.
Yeah, that'll be a good summer project, or we should finish this before August, sort of thing, or by the August meeting, so we can get it in place for the new year.
All right.
Cool.
Moving on to agenda item 5. Yeah.
Mm.
Motion by Greg,
I will second.
motion by Craig, second by Aguilar. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes 3-0-0-0.